Yeah.
So if there's something that you would say, this is the number one thing that you can do in order to get on the path of true spirituality, do this every day. What would you advise people?
Yeah. Every night when you go to bed, think that I will not be waking up tomorrow. That will fix your tomorrow. Think about that end is coming. There is nothing in this world can, avoid that. It is there. It is coming. The clock is ticking. So do whatever you have to, you must do. But before that, you figure out what you want to do. Like if you think that I want to keep earning money while you're contemplating about that, that's useless. Like think something that is something internal to you, and think about that, and it will motivate you indirectly to just leave. If it happens tomorrow, I will leave. If it doesn't, then I'm not there to see it.
Wow, that's profound, and it opens up, if someone is to start thinking that way, it opens up a whole lot of other questions and reorganization of one's priorities
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah, it just starts beating you up, like shaking you up, beating you up, whatever you call it. If that works, then your life will definitely change, and if that doesn't work, then nothing will work.
Do you think that fear and shame play a big role in that, though? Of the external influences that start at childhood, but also even as an adult, like it's in different cultures. For for me, like there's the American, very individualistic sort of, the individual is the only thing that matters. Whereas in other cultures that I have lived in, like in Southeast Asia, for example, the family,
Hmm.
the collective is more important
Hmm.
than the individual. And so it really changes how people think, and how when they are
Yeah.
introspective, what kind of answers that they find. Because someone that grows up in a very capitalistic, individualistic society is going to have different answers for who am I and what do I really want to do than someone who
Hmm.
grows up in a collectivist society where even asking the question of what do I want to do is going to be, it's going to be answered intellectually by their nurture, which is the culture, which is, well, what does the collective need you to do? What does the collective want you
Yeah.
to do? What's most important for the family or the group?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong to be individualistic or thinking about own self, right? Because um, if I don't know enough about me as a human being, there is no way I can help 100 other people. If I have wrong definition of everything that I'm going to do, wrong teachings, I'm going to misguide 100 people. So it doesn't matter, right? First of all, if you prefer to stay or think just for yourself, that's absolutely right. At least there is a saying, right? Self-help is the probably best help, right? So
Mhm.
help yourself first. If you think that you have started understanding things better and more clearer, automatically you would like to help people. So you will come out of that shell of individuality or being individual, and you will just come out. Let it happen. You don't have to make an effort because you have seen the power of knowing, the clarity. Like what you know now is can be helpful and can elevate many people's lives. So why you would be so selfish? It will automatically push you. You will have to probably make no effort in doing that. So don't worry about that. If that has to happen, it will happen. But if it makes you happy to clarify things on your own, let it just be. There is nothing wrong. It's not selfishness.
It's so difficult, though, I think, in many cases, because a lot of times the people that are closest, when someone is truly seeking to be more spiritual, to be more themselves, there's so many external influences that beat that down. So
Oh, yeah.
depending on the culture, depending on, there's an interesting metaphor in Latin America called crabs in a bucket, and it's something that is very pervasive in many of the different countries and cultures in Latin America, which it's really sad because the story of the crabs in a bucket is essentially fishermen don't need to put a lid on the bucket when they're catching crabs. You've heard
Yeah.
this. Because if a crab makes it to the top and it starts to leave, the other crabs, instead of using that and climbing up and like they do it as a team and they all escape, they'll all try and pull it back down. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want, they would rather all be imprisoned in the bucket together than see one crab succeed and exit and escape
Yeah.
that imprisonment, that slavery. And it's a mentality that's really strong, and I think really difficult to overcome. And that makes it more challenging, I think, for people to be introspective and find who they are and then say, oh, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. Because there's just always like, no, you can't do that because that we just don't do that, because it's a form of escaping that cultural or religious prison. And the escape is
Yeah,
internal, it's not external.
yeah, but internal escape also pulls you back from the external, right? Like if you want to think about something, you will go and sit in room, which most of the people will say like, oh, why you are just sitting alone? What are you doing? Come with us and sit with us. Talk about the bullshit that we are talking about. Sometimes you have to do it to be social, because at the end, society is also something that we need. So spirituality is not only thinking like I just have to do one thing, finding about myself. No, it's balancing act. You have to also balance your social life. Sometimes our parents do talk bullshit, but then you are the only one, or I am the only one to listen to them, and it is necessary to listen to them. It doesn't matter what they're saying, but what they need is a listener. So just listen to them, do the job for 1 hour. Then you will be free. Otherwise, you will be constantly hearing chatter about like, why you are not listening to us? You have to talk to us. Why you're not? So 23 hours you will hear that versus just spend 1 hour. So you will decide your priorities, like, okay, let me do this, and they will leave me, right? So you have to juggle and balance, and that's why spirituality or finding the self or inner voice is not that hard, because everything is external, coming always, towards you, hitting you harder and harder every time you try uh, to be introspective. So it's not an easy game. That's why there are not many people who are doing introspection.
Yeah. Well, and it's also painful because a lot of the things that we think that we are, or that we present to the world, it's accumulation of deceptions and facades that we put on. And over time, you get into a place where, oh, well, I've been doing this for so long, since I was a child or since a teenager, that it becomes a core of who you are.
Yeah.
And it's very painful to
Yeah.
strip those things away and get to our real essence, to be like, hey, everybody, so sorry, I've been lying to all of you about who I really am for the last 30 years. This is actually like the real me. And I mean, I think internally, it's also very, very painful to admit to ourselves
Yeah.
that we have been lying, and that we haven't
Line.
been just being, but we have
Right.
been living in a false, like, representation of who we are.
Which is absolutely again fine, because some people not even make that start, whether
Yeah.
you and like where you and I have just made that start. So we are we will have to suffer a lot. Spirituality is not about making life easy. It is to struggle in the beginning, and eventually none of the external stuff will keep bothering you.
Yeah.
So initial struggle
Absolutely.
is real, and you have to go through it, and we all have to go through it who are really want to be free.
And is that the
I
payoff?
mean,
Is it a form of freedom that can't be achieved any other way?
yes, like not without introspection, like how we are going to be free of our own shackles when where we don't know where the shackles are on my hand or my mind or my legs. We have to free ourselves, so we have to know that first. Otherwise, there is no way. Otherwise, everybody would have been spiritual, isn't it?
Mhm. That's why it's the difficult work that has to be done in order to find that freedom, to find that peace, to find that joy and happiness.
To find the joy, yeah. Even spirituality doesn't guarantee happiness or freedom. Again,
Right.
spirituality is constantly evolving, so we might have answered 3 million questions, but there will be 3 million and first question. So but it gives you the, confidence that I have answered those 3 million questions. Just one more question, I can answer that. That's confidence you gain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So many conversations I think that we have between religious people or just about spirituality, it's a debate. It's
Yes.
not seeking truth together where we're coming from different perspectives and we have but it's strong beliefs held loosely, right? I believe
Yes.
what I believe, but I truly want to hear what you have to say, because I want to learn, I want to challenge my own belief system. And that I think is where there's a lot of pushback from many people. It's like they don't want to challenge their belief system. They don't want to think about what it is that they truly are believing in the framework of how they're living their lives, etc. They're comfortable. Like I want to
Mm-hmm.
be uncomfortable. I want people to challenge. Like I want to have these, and it's so positive too when we can have a conversation like this, because it's not I'm right, you're wrong, I'm better than
Yeah.
it's not like it's like, hey, let's seek truth together. It's not about who is right, it's about what is right. And that's
Yes.
the beauty of this type of conversation. So really,
Absolutely.
really have
Yes.
appreciated it, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting and maybe even like doesn't even have to be for podcasts. We can just have a conversation again because it's fun to
Yeah.
have these types of chats. So